So I was in the process of making a video on 3D printing. I put that on hold, and I have another 3D printer here in front of me. This is my son's printer. He bought this on eBay about 2 years ago as a parts or repair deal, and the only thing wrong with it at the time was the hot end was clogged up. So I fixed that for him, and he hasn't had any real major problems with it since. So I guess maybe a week or so ago he tried to print something that he designed on Tinkercad, and he thinks either he messed up the G-code somehow or there's a problem with the Z-axis. Anyway, I do see one of the other problems that he mentioned, and that's that this coupler here is a little on the loosey-goosey side. That's not that big a deal. I have to remove that anyway when I take apart the hot end, so we'll fix that up too. Anyway, so let's see what we can do about moving some of the axes around. So I'm going to raise up the Z-axis just a little bit, just so we have some travel for when I try to home the whole thing. That should be good enough. And we'll pull out the Y-axis and put the X all the way over that way. And let's try to home it. It is a tiny bit noisy, but not too bad. But as you could see, the X homed fine, and so did the Y. And the Z just hit the limit switch, and now it's at the home position. So far it seems to be fine. So I think maybe what happened was the G-code got corrupted, and maybe the homing sequence was the corrupted part, and when he tried to home it and print it, it went a little too low and made a mark in the bed. So hopefully that's fine, and it was just the G-code. I'll test that all out. So now let's try heating up the hot end. Yeah, I remember this is a little tricky to... Okay, let's see if we can get it on there. That's kind of a pain in the butt, that knob there. So let's... I guess we'll preheat the whole thing. I want to see if the bed's still heating up properly, because I made a modification. I'll turn it around and I'll show you. I modified the printer a little bit when he first got it. So I don't know if you can see right here, but there's gray in between this panel and the main body. Well, I put a spacer in here so that I could modify the bed wires, and they usually come out through the top of the base here of the printer and just right underneath, but there's a tendency for the wires to fray, and then the bed won't heat. So I modified it with wires coming out of the back, and I had to put a spacer in there so that there was room for the wires to pass through. So that worked out pretty good, and he hasn't had any problems with the bed as far as I know. So anyway, so let's preheat the whole thing and make sure the bed is still working properly. Alrighty, so far so good. The hot end is up to temperature more or less. It's a little chilly in here, so it's fluctuating a little bit, but the bed is climbing. It's already at 30 degrees, and yeah, I can feel it heating up. So the bed is working fine, and the hot end seems to be working fine too. So let's exit that menu, and we'll move the Z-axis up all the way this time. Anyway, so let's take a quick look at the hot end and the heat break and see what we get going on. I can tell right now with my kind of limited and poor eyesight that it is clogged up pretty bad. It won't be too hard to get it unclogged though. Oh yeah, yeah, I can see it. Yeah, this hot end has a Teflon lining, so it's not a full metal hot end like my printer has, but it's still a pretty good 3D printer. Let's touch this and see if it's still hot. Ooh, yeah, it's still a little hot. I can touch it on the sides where it's insulated though, so not too bad. Let's find something that we can push down through there and see if we can get that out of there. Yeah, there we go. So that's convenient, really, having this lining in there, because I can take it out and I can run something through there if I have anything about the right size, and should be able to get that clog out of there quite easily. Yeah, that's stuck pretty good, so it might take a little doing, but I'll probably do this off camera because it's going to be a little fiddly and I need to be able to... Oh, never mind, I just got it. So, there it is. There's a piece that was stuck in there. Now the the nozzle will be a little bit harder because it's not Teflon or anything, it's brass, so we'll clean that up, put that back in, and just make sure. I think I see the problem. I might have to replace this piece if I have a piece of the same size. I don't think I do though. Nah, I don't have a piece this size, so I'll just run a drill bit through there. Just make sure that it's not tapered on this end, because it looks like it's a little smaller on this end than it is on the other. Let's see if we can put a piece of filament through. And if we can't, we'll just have to run a drill bit through there and make sure that that's open. Yeah, you can't put a piece of filament through there at all, so that's why it's clogged. Well, I hate to cut it off because it's the proper length, so yeah, I'll run a drill bit through there and see if I can open that up a little bit, because I don't have a piece of Teflon tubing this size, so I'd have to wait a while to get one, and I don't really want to do that because he wants to print fairly soon, so I want to get this up and running for him as quick as possible. Yeah, this is going to be a little tricky, but yeah, I'm going to do it off camera because this is slipping around my hands. I'm going to have to figure something out to hold this. Alrighty, so that was a little tricky, but not too bad. So let's see if the filament will go through it now. Okay, good. So that's a lot better. Now we can put that back in the hot end. Actually, which way? This way, I guess. It probably doesn't matter, but that's the way it was, so that's the way we'll put it back in. Alrighty. So now let's just make sure that now that it's back in the hot end that it will still go through, and it does. So now we have to unclog the nozzle, if I can remember what I did with it. Alrighty, so I got the nozzle cleaned out. I used a resistor lead, and I had to heat it up on the stove because the heat gun wasn't doing the trick. So as you can see, I have it all cleared out, and it should be ready to roll. So like I said before, I'm going to use this temporarily until I get them some new nozzles, but anyway, let's put this back in. And I'll tighten this up temporarily, but you do need to heat the hot end up to working temperature and then retighten the nozzle, because it will get loose once it's heated up. So if you don't heat it up and tighten it, like I said, it will get loose. So there we go. Now we got to find that Teflon piece that goes in there that I kind of lost across the workbench, but I'll come back when I find that. Alrighty, so I found the piece. It did take me a minute, so don't be dumb and lose it like I did, but anyway, so we have to put these back in. So I kind of messed up. I got to take that back out, and we need to slide this in first. It's a little bit of a pain in the butt, but it's not too bad. So hold on to that. Slide that up in there. It'll go. Just gotta loosen that a little bit more. And we'll kind of snug it up. I'm not gonna tighten it completely because I have to adjust the hot end just a little bit. And now we put this Teflon piece in, and then this piece. Okay, I think I have the hot end just a little too high, so I have to loosen that up again and bring it down a smidge. And we have one more of these to put in. Alrighty, so I have the hot end back together, and now all I have to do is turn the printer back on, heat it up, and then tighten the nozzle after it's at the set temperature. So I'm just gonna go to monitor, and I'm gonna preheat just the hot end. I don't need to preheat the bed, not right now anyway. When I get ready to level it, then I'll preheat the bed too, but for right now I just want to get the nozzle tightened up and just make sure that's all good. So